Hey, Miss Full Roller, how you doing? Turn this down. Can you hear me, Miss Full Roller? Give me just one moment. I can. Full Roller. Ooh, there it is. It kicked on all extra late. My bad. Let me turn it down. How are you doing, Miss Full Roller? That was so delayed. It took a while for it came on. Okay, you said you're good. Yeah, I keep forgetting when I'm sitting here. I don't have to talk so loud. And it's still giving me a delay. Well, I want to welcome you all that are here and say thank you for coming. I am going on a little bit earlier today because I am incorporating some of the game night into tonight's discussion. I appreciate you being here. I was waiting for one of my guests to come on, but I wanted to start on time. Forgot to turn me up. Was like, why I can't hear anything? Oh, hey, commentary with the two. It's so nice to see you here. I haven't seen you in so long. Psych, just playing. But I'm happy to see you here. Hey, 50 plus, what's up? How are you guys doing? All right, all right, all right. Well, Primping Ain't Easy should be joining us shortly. For those of you that are aware, she did that wonderful video coverage on the Self Made series that came out on Netflix towards the end of March. And from her perspective, she kind of shined the light more on Annie Turnbo Malone, who is actually the lesser popular one of the two. Hey, there she goes. What's up, Primping Ain't Easy? Hi, Donna Reed Love. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I appreciate it. And I hope you can stay for a little bit. We are going to have some wonderful information for everybody tonight. A little bit of fun, a little bit of education, a little bit of laughter, and a little bit of discussion. And Primping Ain't Easy. Did you get the email that I sent to you? Let me know, let me know. And if you all have not had a chance to do so, please, would you mind blow drying on that like button for your girl? I would greatly appreciate it. You all know this is a numbers game with YouTube. It's all about the analytics and the interaction. I'm so happy to be doing this earlier. You guys just don't know. And we are so hoping that StreamYards does not act crazy for us this evening. We're not even going to speak that into existence. We are not even going to speak that into existence. Commentary, how have you been? Are you still working? I'm so happy to see you here. We've been missing your presence. And Primpin, I didn't see if you responded to my question about the email. So you can come on up. Because basically what we're going to be doing is recapping a little bit of her video. You're welcome, commentary. We are going to be basically recapping a little bit of her video. But what I wanted to do was really just have a little bit of dialogue and discussion on it, kind of see what you guys' perspective was, talk a little bit about both of the women, and hopefully you all have had an opportunity to take a look at the series on Netflix. Being that we've all been on this quarantine, we've all had a lot of extra TV watching time. Oh, there she goes. Hey, Primpin. Hi, Edward Smart. Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Pandi?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Awesome. Hey, just Teresa. Let me turn this up just a little bit.
Okay, I'm trying to see, can I get back to looking at you?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, it's a little bit of a lag, huh?
It is. It was so difficult for me to get in here.
Really?
Let me try to put my earpiece on in and see if it's better.
So while Primpin ain't
hear me?
can you guys hear her in the chat? I can hear you. I have my earpiece on. Now, what's weird is up there. That is so crazy.
Hi, 50 plus, Miss Full Roller, Latula. Who else is in here?
Girl, that is so weird. StreamYard done took my picture completely away.
What?
Oh my God. Yep, it got me up there.
It is gone.
What the world? Girl, why they messing with us? Why are they being janky? Let me try another picture. I done put another picture up in it. Now, how I'm gonna be the host and they gonna take my picture? They tripping. Well, you know what? I'm gonna just come on camera then. They tripping.
You said the audio is perfect, Latu?
Okay, the audio is perfect. He says, I tried to put my picture back up there. I'm just waiting to see if it's going to come back on. If not, I will just come on camera because the show is going to definitely go on. Okay, it looks like it's coming back.
That's the one you wanted, Pandi, with the
Yeah, that's fine.
nasty piece of swoop.
Yeah, the nasty piece of swoop bang. I need to see it.
Okay.
All right, you guys, thank you for bearing with us with these little technical difficulties. We already know how StreamYard is.
And for some strange reason, um, I can't click the link from my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm on the laptop right now. I don't know why it won't allow me to get on. Remember when I tried to come up, was it last Monday, I think it was? And I couldn't
Mhm.
come up and I had to come in from a different device. The same thing happened. So I don't know. But
Um,
I had my laptop ready just in case that happened and it did. So we're good to go now.
oh my goodness. Okay, well, I'm not going to prolong it. I don't know what's going on
Yeah,
because I
you're
really
fine.
don't know.
You know what? I want to hear your thoughts on the series. I still haven't completed all of the episodes. I watched because it's 4 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I watched 2.
Okay.
But I can
Okay.
definitely tell, like, what's going on in it.
Got it. Okay, so
What you know what?
have
Wait a
you?
minute.
Hmm?
I'm so sorry.
No,
Every
you're fine.
The people in the chat, have you guys seen the series? Because I definitely don't want to give away any spoilers if you guys have not, or if
I know that's what I was just about to ask them too.
let's see.
Commentary is like, I'm just so glad I can be with you guys again.
I know. Have you guys seen Self-Made on Netflix? And if you have not, are you planning on seeing it? And are you okay with us discussing what happened in the series? Okay, you did see it, Just Teresa? Okay, good.
Okay, good.
Just Teresa, I'm curious, how did you like it? What are your thoughts on it?
All right, Latu said he's seen the first episode.
Okay. And you can really like get an idea of their
His full brother said nope, and she won't be getting it, so just spill the beans.
and Edward said he never seen it. Okay, so you guys, all right. So Pandi, I'm curious to know, um, and oh, one more question. How many of you all, I know a few of you, oh, I thought y'all were talking about Madam C.J. Walker. Yes, we are. We're going to be talking about them both. We're going to be talking about Madam C.J. Walker and her mentor, Annie Malone, who is in the TV series. Her name is Addie Monroe, right, Pandi?
Mm-hmm.
Addie Monroe. Okay.
Yeah, that was the fictional name.
But Pandi, before we get started, can you give us, because you are licensed cosmetologist, can you just give us, I guess, what you learned about her in cosmetology school?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I was gonna do that, and thank you for that. So basically, I wanted to just summarize for you guys, because not everybody knows who these two women are. It's a little bit of history, and I'm gonna just summarize it. So basically, Madam C.J. Walker and Annie Turnbo Malone were the first self-made millionaire women of any race. And initially, Sarah Breedlove, who was later known as Madam C.J. Walker, she learned the hair care business from her brothers, who were barbers back in St. Louis. Now, around the time of the Louisiana Purchase Exposition, which was better and later known as the World Fair at St. Louis in 1904, she became a commission agent selling products for Annie Malone, who was an African American hair care entrepreneur, millionaire and owner of the Coral Company and Coral College. Now, sales at the exposition around that time were very low and basically a disappointment because the African American community was largely ignored. Now, while working for Malone, who would later become Walker's largest rival, Madam C.J. Walker basically, she was mentored by her. She became one of her largest sales agents. And this is where the speculation comes into play. She somehow took the formula and added to or enhanced and created her own formula and then went on to kind of broaden the horizon and become her own self-made millionaire with the Walker system, hair growth system. Okay, and that's just like the short story of it. Now, she went on later to basically, she died of kidney disease, kidney failure at the age of 51. She had a net worth of roughly around $600,000. Now, I say that dollar amount because it's key because Annie Malone, who was the lesser known person, actually lived a lot longer, had a more modest lifestyle, wasn't very fancy, but she went on to live all the way up until 1957, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And she was actually the mentor of C.J. Walker, who was more, out there in the spotlight and kind of lived this like jazzy, flazzy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And it was just a trip. If you go back and research the history, you'll see there was significant differences, but both these ladies were wonderful and did amazing things in their own right. However, a lot of people say that Madam C.J. Walker falsely got the accolades that should have rightfully went to Annie Malone. So we're here to basically talk about the differences between the two women and the Netflix series because there are reviews flying left and right on social media about the way they were both portrayed in this series. Well, that's just kind of like an opener, and I'll get into a little bit more. And I do have some trivia questions that we'll throw out in between. But basically, my take on it, with the little bit that I just shared, I feel like the Netflix series, we have to take into account that the title does say inspired by. Before anything else, it says inspired by. And that's usually what they use in Hollywood when they're getting ready to change history or rewrite it or change the narrative. So a lot of things were fictionalized. I feel like Miss Annie Turnbo Malone was portrayed as colorist in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Madam C.J. Walker was portrayed as a thief. I feel like her husband was portrayed as a buffoon who was not really allowed to be the head of the household. They kind of painted their relationship as one where she emasculated him on a regular basis. They also portrayed her daughter as a closeted lesbian. And I just feel like they overall kind of left out a lot of important historical details. Now, was it entertaining? Yes, it was. But if I didn't know my history, I would be fool enough to believe that she invented the chemical relaxer and the straightening comb. But because I have a background in cosmetology, for example, I know the straightening comb was invented by Marcel Gratou, a Frenchman, which is why the hot curlers that we used to put on the stove were called Marcel curlers. You know what I'm saying? But people are ill-informed. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it because there was so much buzz going on while we were in quarantine and we were being entertained by Netflix, just to get your perspective because you did prepare that lovely video. You did shine a spotlight on Miss Annie Malone. And I feel like it makes for great discussion.
I see in the
That's where
chat.
I'm at.
I see in the chat that just Teresa. Let me go back to I'm gonna start where just Teresa asked the question. Do you think that's stealing what Madam CJ Walker did?
Oh, let me go back to her comment. Oh, okay, I see it now. Okay, I put it up there. So do you think that's stealing, and was CJ wrong?
Oh, what was she wrong? Oh, uh,
Is that question for me, or is that question for the both of us?
probably for the both of us.
Oh,
Um,
so I'll let you answer first, and then I'll give my response.
that's such a complicated question. Well, complicated answer because I have thought about this question so many times, and Pandi and I have actually discussed that question and how we feel about it. And had you asked me that question in January, I think I would have said, of course, yes, yes. But after researching everything, I don't want to call it stealing. She definitely, yes, that's true. That's true. But
Mhm.
this is where I'm going with that, just Teresa, because just Teresa said, even if you reinvent the product, she stole her whole idea.
Well, okay. Here's my response to it. Coming from the field of cosmetology, I don't think she outright stole her idea. I think that she definitely did get real cutthroat with it. And she hopped out there and she learned the business. She had issues with her scalp. Annie Malone comes from a background of chemistry, and she had a successful, thriving hair product for that time. Now, they worked alongside each other for a long time before they fell out or had their, whatever led to them going their own separate ways. Now, the way it was portrayed in the series, how she stuffed the tins in her bags and kind of crept off with them, and I don't think it went down like that. I definitely do think that she benefited from Miss Malone's formula. She saw that it was working for her. And when they had their separation of ways or going their parting of ways, I feel like in her own mind, she felt like she could take the product and make it better. Because research shows, hi, Regina Shaw, research shows that Annie Malone's product was geared more towards straightening women's hair, whereas CJ Walker's was supposedly originally formulated to grow hair. So that was her whole premise for when they later had a lawsuit regarding this very thing years later. She stood on the premise that she wasn't trying to steal her product, she was actually trying to enhance it. So I could see where one would feel like, she came along and she stole the product and she stole her idea. But then I can also see the flip side where no, she didn't steal the idea. She saw that she had a good idea and she wanted to take upon the idea and expound upon it and do her own thing. So that's kind of where I stand on that. I don't believe she just outright tried to steal the woman's idea though. But I can see how one would see it that way.
Yeah, I'm like, steal is a strong word, but did she take it? Yes. Did she use that business model? Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree to that. Definitely agree with that. I hope we answered your question, just Teresa. And this is going to be very opinionated. Let me see. I'm going to try to grab a couple more of the questions that I saw in here because there were some good questions. Just Teresa says, I must admit, I've never heard of either one to the show, and I've been around for a while. Wow. I'm really surprised. Feeling what's wrong. Maybe if it weren't for profit, it would not have been stealing, says Latu. Miss Full Roller says, do y'all think they did it to make it more appealing to a wider audience? Now, I'm going to put that question up there because I feel like she's asking us our opinion about the Netflix series or Netflix. Do
Mm-hmm.
we think that they changed it to make it appealing to a wider audience? I absolutely think that's why they did it.
When you look at what I saw, and that's why Miss Full Roller, honestly, I would love for you to at least watch the first episode just so you can see what's going on in it. I have so much to say because there was so much going on.
Right.
The way they portrayed Annie Malone was just also wrong because she was a daughter of slaves. She wasn't biracial. So that
Mm-hmm.
was like a huge thing. They definitely played up the colorism thing
Yeah.
and had she was very, kind of nasty and condescending. And also they when they were playing up the colorism, they made Annie out to be, I guess, like, okay, so you're fair skin or you look a certain way. So these girls
Mm-hmm.
can sell the product. But no, you won't be able to sell product. That's what she was telling Madam CJ Walker, which is absolutely false because she recruited Madam CJ Walker. And I think that was like one of the biggest things. Um, she believed in her, she recruited her, and she saw the talent in her.
This is true. And I'm going to share some of the reviews that I saw online just from like movie critics regarding the show and get you guys' input. There was one that says, Monroe, who was Annie Malone's fictional character, Monroe begins as a savior of sorts, selling her hairline door to door. She meets the washerwoman stuck in an abusive relationship with her hair falling out in clumps, and that Monroe products magically made her hair grow back. Ultimately, Monroe becomes a light-skinned foil to Walker and is portrayed as a clownish, spiteful, devoid of scientific knowledge businesswoman. Meanwhile, Walker is portrayed as a resentful, typical, spiteful Black woman resentful of Monroe's perceived beauty. I actually agreed wholeheartedly when I saw that review.
Mm-hmm.
And hello to everyone entering, and thank you guys so much for being here. Um, but when I learned of the story, which I learned of the story back in 99 and 2000 when I was going to beauty school, because these people are staples in the industry. We had to learn about them in our theory. Annie Malone was actually not that much lighter than Madam C.J. Walker in complexion. She's also the descendant of slaves. They were both orphaned. The really two big differences that they had coming up was that Annie Malone was actually educated. She was educated up north, but she was also the child of slaves. She was born on a plantation, just like Madam C.J. Walker. They just had two totally different upbringing, and they later connected in that door-to-door sales. And it just so happened that C.J. Walker was also having issues with the hair. Now, Annie Malone came more from the standpoint that because lice and different hair conditions was prevalent on the plantations back then, that was one of the reasons why she devoted so much time and energy into studying the chemistry and trying to work out a formulation that would actually enhance and beautify Black women's hair back then. So just the whole portrayal of the way the Netflix series put it out, you would be totally lost behind the true history
Yes.
of the
Because
story.
and Annie, and although she didn't graduate from high school, Annie was a bookworm. She really studied the products and pretty much everything that she did, because she eventually studied in Europe as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the way they portrayed her in the movie, it was, I don't even know what to call that. Almost slanderous.
It was definitely a trip. It was a trip.
And she was constantly, well, what I saw, she was drinking. I'm like, are they portraying her as a drunk?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that in there. There was a little bit of that. I'm going to ask you guys in the audience really quick just to see how much you all know about these ladies. I'm going to ask a few of the obvious questions, of course. But do you all in the chat know? We know who Madam C.J. Walker was initially, right? Do we know her birth name?
Well, I think someone said that they hadn't heard of. Um,
I know just Teresa said she hadn't heard of her until the series. I had always known who she was since a little girl. I was actually taught in like fifth or sixth grade is when I found out about who she was. And even in early hip hop songs, they would reference Madam C.J. Walker.
mm-hmm.
So no, nobody's really answering that one.
Well,
So
Miss
I'm gonna take
Bullroller
that one
said,
down. But I did just see a comment from Miss Full Roller that I want to put up there and get your intake on what she's saying. Miss Full Roller says that's what I meant. Enhanced dramatization, and that it's a nice way of putting it.
they definitely, and as a matter of fact, both of the men, though, Blair Underwood's character as the husband, and also the young man that played the daughter's husband, I didn't too much care for, either one of those characters.
The men, period, in the entire film, in my opinion, it was definitely not in a line with how things were at the time. The women definitely did not run the show. Okay, Edward Smart, thank you for that feedback. Edward said he heard about her on Pastor Kim's channel.
Yes, yes, Binge Thinker. She said, I only knew about her on a surface level. And then Miss Flora said, I heard of Madam C.J. Walker, but not Annie Malone. Mm-hmm.
And let me share this little bit of information with you guys too. Now, one of the first Black women to reach millionaire status did so by launching a hair care empire, and her name wasn't Madam C.J. Walker. Entrepreneur Annie Turnbo Malone reached this milestone at the end of World War I. She just so happened to give beauty mogul Walker her start in the cosmetic industry. Since her death in 1957, however, Malone's tremendous achievements have been widely overlooked. The website of the State Historical Society of Missouri admits as much. They go on to further say that Annie Turnbo Malone's legacy as a pioneer in the African American beauty and cosmetic business has largely been overshadowed by the success of her former employee, Madam C.J. Walker. Now, this is now kind of beginning to change. However, because Malone is now being recognized for her role in launching the industry, but Madam C.J. Walker is definitely the one who's been getting the shine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people, like I said, she's been wrongly labeled as the first female self-made millionaire. After her untimely death, Madam C.J. Walker was also falsely credited with inventing chemical relaxers and the hot comb when in fact neither she or Malone invented the hot comb. That honor, like I said, actually goes to a Frenchman named Marcel Gratu, who reportedly created the hair tool in 1872 for white women seeking to wear their hair in sleek Cleopatra-style bobs. Now, when he came up with that invention, both Walker and Malone were very small children. And the facts are that the Madam C.J. Walker story was more widely popularized, and justifiably so, because the many photographs that we've seen of her, she was always dashing, she was always gallivanting out in, the latest Rolls Royces, the
She was
furs.
very flamboyant.
Yeah, she was very flamboyant, she was very flashy, and it was like it demonstrated the growth of her wealth, and all it be short-lived, the appeal of her rags to riches story. It was just something that was more, something more flashy to talk about. Whereas Annie Malone's story kind of exemplified kind of like a different focus. She was more on self-help and personal dignity. She lived a much more modest lifestyle. She kind of did her thing in her community where she was like investing in the orphanage there and, more service in the community. She did the cosmetology schools. They had medical facilities and all of that sort of thing. So she really did not get the shine, although she was there first. And when you look at the two women's net worth, she actually was a multimillionaire well before Madam C.J. Walker got up on her feet and did her thing and became a millionaire. Yet the history and the story is being told to us that self-made Madam C.J. Walker is the first woman millionaire.
Mm-hmm. And
So
it's always been like that too. So let me ask you this. Why do you think Madam C.J. Walker has always been the household name and has always gotten the credit for it? Why do you think that? Because I was thinking about that. I don't know.
That is a question that I was hoping somebody here could answer because I've never understood it. But I mean, I believed that for a very long time until I actually got older. And like I said, when I went into cosmetology school in 2000, and it became mandatory for me to study the woman in depth and actually learn the background, I had honestly believed that she was the first self-made millionaire. She was the first woman. She was the first African-American woman. And I also believed that she had created the relaxer as well as the hot comb.
I
I
was
mean,
going to say, and the straightening comb.
yeah.
And it's people still today think that she created that.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I've heard commentary on it here on YouTube.
Recently?
Hmm. Right after the series premiered. Yep. From larger content creators. Yep. Hmm.
And to be clear, you guys, neither one of them created the hot comb.
Exactly. That
But,
goes to Marcel Gratu,
mhm,
the Frenchman, which is why those old school hot curlers that your mama used to heat up on the stove is called Marcel curlers.
mhm.
Or if you go back to an old school salon, they would say, get them Marcels and put them in the oven for me. Hmm. So
Wait a minute.
yeah.
Hey, Gigi. Gigi made a comment. She said, I could be the fact that Annie Malone was too much for real Black history. You guys, she was really an amazing woman. And I'm not saying amazing um, as far as what she did with the beauty industry, because of course that was amazing. But what I'm talking about is how what she did for the Black community, and also like so many things happened. I mean, took place historically at her schools. Pandi was one night we were having, this was back in February, and one of your questions was about the Godfather. I mean, who's the father of gospel music? Thomas Dorsey. Now, I, of course, when I was younger, I sang in a gospel choir. I grew up in the church. So I had heard of him. I had no idea that he wrote Precious Lord at her school. And so when you asked the question, it was fresh on my mind because I had just found that out. I was like, wow,
Mm.
I did not
Wow.
know that. It was after his wife and baby had passed on. And I don't know if it was like a day or a couple of days afterwards, but he wrote it at one of her school in, I think, Chicago.
At Annie Malone's or C.J. Walker's?
Annie Malone's.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
At Park College. Yep. And also, when I was researching, I found out that Chuck Berry,
Hmm.
who is pretty much considered what the father of rock and roll.
Hmm.
Where is Miss Full Roller? Because I know she would definitely know.
She's in there. She's in the comments still. I actually put one of her questions up on the board because I was going to get to it when you got finished with your point.
But Chuck Berry went to school and was trained there. And maybe because Master J. Walker was reported as the first report, but she wasn't. Actually, Annie Malone was recorded as as the first. But Chuck Berry went to school at one of the campuses, at her campus in St. Louis.
Oh,
And
the Oral College.
mm-hmm, and
Okay.
he was trained there. Yeah. And I didn't get into it into my little documentary about it, but of course they train barbers there.
Right.
And many men went to school there. So I didn't, because I wanted to center it around women. I don't even
Hmm.
really think I mentioned men too much in the documentary because I just wanted to focus on women. But of course, Chuck Berry was a huge star. Everybody knows a lot of his songs. He was trained there as a barber. And I thought that was interesting.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now, I think I think you were responding to Gigi's statement about her being more than they could handle,
Pardon?
and the fact that many may have been threatened by her and her reach.
Turn behind her reach.
I think that was good. There was also two questions that Mrs. Full Roller posed. One was Madam C.J. Walker educated? And then her other one I have posted up there. She says maybe because Madam C.J. was recorded as the first self-made millionaire. So I'm going to respond to both of those, and then I'm going to get your response. The first question, was she educated? Because they were both orphaned, it is recorded that Annie Malone was definitely moved up north and educated. However, Madam C.J. Walker only is recorded to have spent a few months in a classroom. And then she was married by age 14. Then she was widowed shortly thereafter, I think by the age of 20. And she went to work as a washerwoman from that point on. Whereas Annie Malone was, getting her education.
Well, I wouldn't say she was educated though, because she went to high school. She did, but she didn't finish. She dropped out.
Yeah, she went up to
Because she
high
was
school,
sick, and
not
that's why I
college.
say that. That's why I say that she was like a bookworm, more so, but definitely not formally educated.
Not formally educated. No, you're right. And I do stand corrected on that. Now, I also remember reading that she actually learned a lot of her chemistry and formulations from one of her aunts who was like a herbalist.
Yes,
Did you see that?
it was actually in my documentary.
Okay. Okay. So I remember that. I remember that from beauty school.
She would
Yeah.
go to the woods with her aunt, to pick herbs for medicine when she was, much, much younger. But she
Right.
always had a love for chemistry. So it's like, how if you're born with the talent.
Yes.
Yeah, but she wasn't educated, Miss Full Roller. I don't want to put that out there because she wasn't. Because she said, y'all know how educated Black women are. Yeah, but she wasn't educated. She was more so like self-taught, which Madam C.J. Walker was too, in a way.
Yeah, and they pretty much both of them formulated their care lines strictly by trial and error. They were known to offer free treatments to people. They would go to the market, kind of stand up with their little setup, and a lot of times they would offer free services to people to attract more customers. They would experiment on family members, church members, until they got it up and running, which came a little later.
But I guess the only thing I can come up with is maybe because she wasn't flamboyant and she was more so, I think Madam C.J. Walker wanted to be more so the face of her business. And she wanted to be the one out there doing things. And Annie was more so behind the scenes. She really liked the business of it and reading and just knowing everything about the different ingredients, the business side, everything. She wasn't flashy. And she was definitely more concerned with making sure everybody else was able to excel with her.
True. Now that brings me to another point, because for those of you all who have had an opportunity to see Self-Made, the Netflix series, did you notice how, what's the lady's name in the show? Addie Monroe? That's supposed to be Annie Malone, right?
Yes.
Well, She is more, she's portrayed as, let's just face it, she's portrayed as a blatant colorist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Of course, Madam C.J. Walker is portrayed as a thief who, basically she kind of came to her door one day and she was selling door to door and she kind of helped her get her hair back growing and this and that. They also go on to further kind of paint this picture like the husband who was an adsman back in those days. He worked for like their little newspaper, the Black Media. And so she utilized his talent and his skill to do advertisement. And they painted the picture that that is how she kind of got an edge up on Miss Annie. And the thing that was interesting to me is they kind of put it out there like Addie was, well, you'll never really be able to get your product will never take off because everybody wants to look like me. I'm the vision of beauty that people are going for. You are not. And they made sure that in the series to highlight the fact, and this is a true statement, that Madam C.J. Walker always, in her packaging of her hair care line products, it was always the image of herself or other darker complected women on the products. So in the series, they kind of made it out like she was like, very uncomfortable in her skin and, she didn't see it for women that were darker complected, when in fact that wasn't the case. She was actually very proud and, she wanted to showcase that and market it on her products.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that in the
I
series?
didn't. Maybe that came in episode 3, maybe because I
Okay.
haven't gotten to that part yet.
Okay, yeah, that could be further down.
Yep.
It
But
was just very weird.
what do you think
Very
about
weird.
the daughter
Um,
in the in the series?
the daughter, I think that is so wrong how they basically portrayed her as this closeted lesbian when in fact, if you research and you know a little bit
And a
about her
clown.
history, as a just straight up idiot, I'm gonna just say.
Yes.
But I mean, we're talking about the Harlem Renaissance, okay, when it was just taking off. If you was any type of vibrant, popping, self-spirited person that was out there trying to get a big idea up off the ground, Harlem was where you wanted to be back then. So
Yeah.
with her personality, and I believe they still have a home there that the great granddaughter owns, I believe. But she played a pivotal role in the Harlem Renaissance. Like all the jazz musicians and all the swingers and
Mm-hmm.
shakers and movers all used to come to her Harlem salon. It was a jumping spot. So the way she was portrayed in the series was totally, they definitely, they definitely did some fictionalization
Mm-hmm.
with
And
her role.
both of them were very political.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Madam C.J. Walker was just more, out front with hers, but
Hmm.
Annie Malone was very political. She was actually a Republican at the time. Um,
Now that I didn't know. Wow.
she also was became an honorary member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority.
Okay, I did see that.
So yeah, she was definitely behind the scenes, doing things, hosting events at her buildings, her venues that she owned. But they had so much in common, just as far as like, because both of them were married twice, right?
Hmm.
Okay, and Annie was divorced twice, and her marriages were very rocky. But I can kind of see that um, because this was something very new, not only to them, but just new to the country. black women doing what they did during
Oh
that
yeah.
particular time. So how do you navigate that? Because they had never seen anyone else do it. So I can definitely understand, pouring everything into a business that you've created, not just started, but created, because no one else had done it. So,
Yeah, they were definitely trendsetters for the time. They were definitely like light years ahead of most women for those times. And then to be self-taught and actually be successful. Like
mhm,
I think they left the country where they were initially going door to door, and didn't they both move to Missouri, I believe,
mhm,
which when you look back at the history, Missouri was a very influential spot
mhm.
for African Americans that were trying to start their own successful businesses.
Because
And
at
you
the
could
time,
kind of go there and flourish.
I was going to say, at the time, St. Louis had the fourth largest population of black people.
Exactly, exactly. And so you were able to go there with a business and get it up off the ground running, and you could really do well for your family. You could do well for your family, that's for sure.
And then
Now,
ask you about, um,
it was something else I wanted to ask you.
oh, because I didn't see, did they show like in episode 3 or 4 anything about just her upbringing when she was a child? Because I know when it
Not
started with
really.
her
They kind of
as a,
like
that's
skipped
what I was
over
gonna
that whole
wonder.
piece. They kind of skipped over that whole piece.
I would have, yeah, okay.
What did you think about the whole, you know how they kept going to the fight scenes where she was in the ring?
Oh my goodness, that was so weird.
That was very weird. And a lot of the reviews that I've seen from both of their family members
Hmm.
have been kind of like highly offended by those scenes
That that
because they say it just simply wasn't the case with their relationship. Like their relationship was not that featured like how it
right,
was
they were
portrayed.
competitors, but it wasn't. They were in different markets.
Hmm. I thought that was interesting.
They made
And that goes back to what we're saying though about the history. Yeah, Miss Full Roller's asking about in the ring question mark.
like that. It was so
Please
many.
elaborate it. Please elaborate.
It was so many things in. I was so confused because that was just so weird for me in a boxing ring.
Hmm. With boxing gloves, going to their prospective corners and the bell being rung for
And the
them to
little
basically.
robe they
Yeah.
had on, like one of them had a bow. Of course, I noticed that it was a bow on the back
Hmm.
of it. I was like,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
interesting. But it was just so weird for them to, they really played up the rivalry in
Hmm.
when they were in two totally different markets.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were, that her building was
Interesting.
right
And
here
then
and the other one was right there.
how about the scene? Have you seen the part where they're like at the function where Booker T. Washington is going to speak and she's like determined to have this meeting with him?
Oh yes, yes.
Oh my God. What did you think about that?
Oh, which I didn't know that Bill Bellamy was in it until that scene.
Hmm. Hmm. And of course, going back to the whole playing them up as buffoons, what was he in there? He was a numbers runner.
It was a lot of clownish behavior going on.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, what did this have to do with the whole story about self-made millionaire here? But anyway, it just didn't show him in a good light. And I mean, I'm sure it was going on.
Yes.
I'm sure it was going on.
But everybody in every character, and I know characters are exaggerated because it's a TV series, which you really don't even have to exaggerate their lives, because they led very interesting lives. So you really didn't have to even make up all that stuff. But the way they portrayed everybody in the movie, the characters were not like serious characters, and both of these women were serious business women.
Mm-hmm. True. Very true. Very true. And I just feel like it took away from the true history behind the impact that both these women made in the beauty and cosmetic industry. They were definitely rivals. There is definitely some speculation that, Madam C.J. Walker may have took the formulation, may have borrowed, may have enhanced. I think that kind of just depending on who you ask and where you do your research at, that would determine the answer for that one. Um, but I mean, there was so much more positive to both of these women's story that just did not get expressed in that series. And I actually was so wrapped up in it, I sat there and watched all 4 episodes back to back
I
in
still,
one sitting
I
because
tell
I just couldn't stop watching it. I just let them all play. But a lot of important historical details were left out.
hmm
A lot of important historical details were left out. So I wanted to just get your take on it, seeing how you did do the research and you did prepare the video. And now that you've had an opportunity to take a look at the series, just kind of see what you thought. Because I was kind of torn, like, wow, this was entertaining, but it was definitely not that accurate.
and I'm gonna go back and watch, because I was watching it well, from a historical point of view the very first time. I'm gonna go back and watch it again from an entertainment view. What Miss Florella said, we still have the thing that portrayals of black people won't sell, or no one will watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sad thing, though. I mean,
And
especially in this case.
but I have to say too, the star of this show was one of the executive producers of the show.
Wasn't it?
And
Didn't
LeBron,
the
but
great
I wouldn't necessarily look at him, to really give that much input. I know he probably financed it, but I wouldn't look for him to give that sort of input because he wouldn't know. But just the fact that Octavia Spencer is an executive producer of the show.
Exactly. And then when you look at the experience and the diverse background of acting that Blair Underwood comes from, and
Oh,
then not only that, I thought the great granddaughter of Madam C.J. Walker was also involved in.
and that's the
Uh,
next thing I was going to say.
yeah.
From my understanding, she was very involved with the making of this series. And of course, they used her book.
I did read that.
So that's another reason why and she's done so many interviews promoting the series.
Promoting the Netflix series,
Yeah,
right?
so I was really confused.
Oh my goodness. It was very interesting.
I was like, okay, so you had something to do with this too. This is okay.
Let me share a couple of more quotes from the reviews that I saw as I
Okay.
was researching this. Um, there was one that said the series, referring to the Netflix series, the series dishonored Malone by portraying her as a colorist schemer. Then there was another one that said the film sensationalized the life of Walker in petty ways designed to ramp up drama and highlight stereotypes about Black women.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one that said Walker was portrayed as a striving capitalist rather than a woman who transcended poverty in search of a better life for her and her daughter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what some of the movie critics were saying about the series. Thought it was pretty interesting. I think they got mixed reviews across the board. Some people thought, okay, you guys are reading too much into it. It was entertaining. Yes, they stretched the truth a little bit. We know this didn't really go down like that, but it's TV. It's not an autobiography. But then some people had some very strong opinions and was very offended.
It was offensive. And I think because if you if you've if you've heard of these ladies, both of the women before,
Mhm.
then of course when you watch it, the series about it, you're critical of it because you know the backstory. Now, for people that have never heard of them, it is quite entertaining.
Yeah.
But we come from the standpoint that we knew about them beforehand, so it was definitely, but yeah, it was a lot of exaggeration were ish to me.
Yeah, it definitely was. There were definitely some stretching of the truths.
Hmm. And then some,
I'm gonna put let me put one more question up here because I think some people are dropping off and we are not gonna keep y'all too long. We're just sharing our perspective and giving our review and commentary on the Netflix series versus the facts and the fiction around these two women. We already established Madam C.J. Walker's birth name was Sarah Breedlove. Um, do anybody know where Madam C.J. Walker was born originally? I just wondered. Got any history buffs up in here? Any nerds like myself? Because I saw in more than one place, some people had her being born in Mississippi and some people had her being born in Louisiana. Did you notice that, Primpin?
yes,
I was like,
I
where was this girl
did.
born at?
That's
I was
something
seeing
else I
different stuff.
was mention to you is so difficult to really to put out stories. I mean, to cover this because of the history. Like now, everything that we do much is documented, right? So and
Mm-hmm.
has been for a very long time, especially now with we can do things on our phones. They're
Right.
readily available for us to document our entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, things were not documented like that. So there were discrepancies with everything from
Everything.
birthplaces
I was
to
finding that too. I
birth
thought it was
dates.
just
Yep.
me. I was like, okay, there I saw one thing that said one of them had been married twice, one said they were married three times. I was just like, okay, what is the
There
accurate information here?
definitely, yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Miss Full Roller put
Mhm.
the answer for that one was Louisiana, which I saw that more consistently. So I was led to believe that was the actual correct answer for that one. So good job, Miss Full Roller. You know Miss Full Roller be knowing them historical questions. Miss Full Roller be knowing. Wait, what'd she say? Well, y'all know our births were not true, true, true. I can only imagine how hard it was back then. Thank you
Mhm.
for still being here, Edward Smart. He said, true. Hi, Josie. Welcome. So, yeah, there was another question I'm going to put out there. See if anybody knows this one. Madam C.J. Walker was the first member of her family to be born what? See if anybody in the chat knows that one. Miss Full Roller said, this is very interesting. It is interesting. I was so wrapped up in it just researching the information. Miss Full Roller put that little confused face. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the blank just so we don't spend too much time. Nope, it wasn't dark, Jennifer. It was actually, the answer is a free person. She was actually the first member of her family to be born a free person. She wasn't born under slavery. And Edward Smart actually had the answer for that one. Did you see that in your research, Brenton?
Yes. And I
Okay.
even mentioned it too in my documentary
Okay.
about,
Okay.
mhm,
Great.
about them, the both of them actually, because they weren't that.
That's right.
Hmm.
They were born into the poverty, but they were definitely not
Hmm.
enslaved. So awesome. Miss Full Roller said, once I thought about it, that was the only logical answer. I put another question up there. This was expressed in the many documentaries, TV shows, reports, research, and I guess it was sort of examined in the Netflix series. The reason why she started working with hair care products. What do you think that answer is, Primpin? Can you hear me, Primpin? Oh, you're muted. Well, I'm not gonna unmute you. You come back in. But I do see that no, I can't hear you. You're muted. Okay, it won't let me unmute you, Primpin, because it says that you're muted by choice. So, anyways, Miss Full Roller, really? It won't let me unmute you. It says can't unmute guests because they chose to mute themselves. So Miss Full Roller did get that answer correct. It was because she began having problems with her own scalp. Uh-oh, my prepping got to come back up. It still won't let me unmute you. It still won't let me unmute you. Hmm. Nope, it won't let me unmute you, Primpin. Uh-oh, StreamYard is trying to act funky with us again, y'all. That is so weird. It literally will not let me unmute you. Yeah, it's giving me a message saying I can't unmute guests because guests muted themselves. Do you keep taking yourself off the screen, Primpin? That is so weird. Growth enhancement. Yes. And she called it the Walker system. She called it the Walker hair care system. I'm going to put one last thing up there, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring this night to a close because we're going past 1 hour mark. And now, of course, StreamYard is acting funky. It's messing with the audio. That is so weird. You're not touching it, and it's not letting me unmute you. When I hit unmute, it says can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. That is so weird. Jennifer's laughing. It is not funny, you guys. Okay, this is going to be my last question, and I'm going to let y'all go. It says, I can see me going in and out of the stream. Yeah, I thought you were doing that on purpose. I didn't understand what was going on. It just kept, your avatar kept going on, and then I'd see it backstage, so I put it back up, and then it would go off again, and then I'd put it back up. I'd done that like 3 or 4 times. All right, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here. The last question up there is one of Annie Malone's most famous models or quotes was blank because the method worked. StreamYard trying to silence you. Yes, girl. I thought that. I was like, what is Crippen doing? Wait. I can see me going in and out of the stream. Like, really? Primping. I promise you, I was like, well, maybe Primping is trying to go out and come back. I initially thought you were doing it to try to get your audio back. So I kept seeing you backstage. So I kept putting you back up there. And you would drop off. Then I would put you back up. But like right now, I'm clicking on the unmute mic and it's giving me the message, can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. So yeah, you already know, we all know that after a while, StreamYard will get real crazy. So the answer to that question, y'all, was clean scalps mean clean bodies. So to complete the sentence, one of Annie Malone's most famous models or quotes was clean scalps mean clean bodies because the method worked. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys all for joining us, for contributing to this conversation. It was wonderful dialogue. I have enjoyed you guys all. If you guys have not, please take a look at my community tab on YouTube. I put some poll questions over there, just asking for you guys to give me a little bit of feedback about what type of live streams you would like to see from me going forward on my channel. Because you all know I typically do I do a lot of trivia and game nights, but I also enjoy doing this type of thing where I'm giving information or we're dialoguing and just chopping up and dissecting a certain thing. Sometimes I like to come on and talk about the trending topics and how they affect us. So I do have like 4 or 5 poll questions over there. I would greatly appreciate it if you could swing by there and just check one of those answers for me. I would greatly appreciate it. If you guys didn't remember to do so on your way in, please take a moment to hit that thumbs up. And I cannot thank you guys enough for sticking around and hanging out with me tonight for this live stream. I am grinding towards hitting my 4,000 watch time hours, and I'm getting very close, you guys. So I appreciate you spending this time with me on tonight. I really, really do. And with that being said, I am not going to prolong you guys. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Is there anyone from our immediate camp, Miss Full Roller, that is live that maybe we can go and raid? Is there anyone live that is going live or that's live right now that you all would like to go raid? Or do you guys just want to go ahead and call it an evening from here at 7:20 p.m.? I'm not going to have game night tonight, guys, because we did a whole little over an hour. Thank you, Edward Smart. That's what I love doing, a learning live. I appreciate that. I love those kind of lives. I actually sit in on them a lot myself. I love to learn. Now, I like to have fun too. And I feel like even when we do game nights, we're learning. You know what I'm saying? I was a little still real under the weather this week, so I didn't do much content. Oh, you want to do a chit chat? Yeah, that'll be good. You want to do a chit chat over on your channel? Miss Full Roller, let us know. Or y'all wanting to hang out over here with me for longer? Let us know, let us know. Because I will drop the link. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna exit you off and then you try to come back on and let's see if that works because I don't know what happened here. Okay, so I just took you off, Primpin. So should I try to re-add you or do you gotta go completely out and come back on? It won't let me unmute your mic. Can you boot you out completely? I tried to boot you out completely. Okay, remove you from the stream. But then how do I boot you out completely? It says you're out, but you're still backstage. Oh, kick from studio. Ooh, I never even knew that feature was it. If you want to prevent this person from rejoining. Okay, let me try that. Thank you, Vile11. Thank you so much for being here with us. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Okay, I kicked you out, Primpin. Maybe she can go completely out and start over. That's what I was thinking too, Miss Full Roller. Y'all know I didn't even know you could do that. It said kick out guests or ban guests. I didn't know you can ban people. So do I have to give you the link again? Or you come back in on the same link? And Miss Full Roller, are you going to go live? Or do you want to come up and chat? It's saying that StreamYard is experiencing some difficulty. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think there's something definitely going on. You already know how StreamYard is. Hang on. Hold on. And they're experiencing some difficulties. Hi, Coco Empire. Welcome to the stream. we're kind of winding down now, but I appreciate you stopping in. We're still kind of chopping it up and hanging out. You're trying to get back in, but I'm getting that error message. Okay, no worries, no worries. I think we did. I think we did good. Oh, it will not let me remove that. Oh well. I think we did good for what we were trying to do. We had an opportunity to kind of discuss the Netflix series. We kind of gave a little bit of history and background on the two ladies. I think that the chat was very interactive and had wonderful feedback for us. And StreamYard being StreamYard, it is like it's run its course for us. So, Miss Full Roller, do you want us to hang out for a little bit until you get set up? Maybe we can try and swing on over to your platform. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed having this conversation. I always enjoy getting others' perspective on stuff like this. As a woman and as an African American woman and as one who has a background in cosmetology, I really, really enjoyed researching this story. It was almost like homework to actually sit and watch the series because I was sitting there taking my notes and then I was going online and researching the backstories and the facts. So it was very much so informative. I enjoyed it, and I hope that you guys all got something from it. I hope that you guys learned something more about these two women. I hope that you learned something about myself as well as Primping Ain't Easy. And if you have not had an opportunity to get over to her channel and check out that video, she did a wonderful job chronicling these women in her video. I don't even think her video is 15 minutes long. So it's definitely not something that's going to take you a long amount of time to go over there and check out. She did an excellent job with the editing. She captured the history, and it was very educational. Let me go back to y'all. I am feeling much better, y'all. Thank you for asking, Primpin. Today is officially the first day that my temperature was still slightly elevated, but I didn't have a fever. It's a little higher than normal, but that's gonna kind of be a given when you're not really feeling well. But I actually had a lot of energy today. I feel really upbeat. I feel motivated. And tomorrow will be my first day going back outside after being quarantined for 3 weeks. I have a lab appointment in the morning to go and get some workups done. And then I have another follow up appointment on Wednesday. I'm still going to be working from home remotely, but I am feeling much better in my body. So thank you for asking. And thank you all who have been checking in with me and sending me motivational messages and emails and praying for me, both speaking the prayer and your unspoken prayer. I appreciate it because I feel the impact of that. I definitely feel like I'm improving, which is why I was well enough and strong enough to come on and hold this live stream. Thank you. So let me see. Okay, Miss Full Roller says give her a bit. So we're just stalling right now until Miss Full Roller gets ready. Oh my goodness. Hold on, let me try to pop on real quick. Cause sometimes I be feeling like the people do be wanting to see you. Hey guys. Hey, Latu still here. I had to come from behind my avatar. See y'all, I'm doing well. Can y'all see me? I'm doing much better. Latu is still here. Oh, hey, Vale 11 still here. Yeah, Vale or Vile. I'm so sorry. Um, I have been under the weather, Vile, and I was a little nervous because I work in the hospital setting, so there was a little bit of concern that I might have had been um, impacted with the whole pandemic, but glory be to God that that wasn't it. So happy to see you. I am so happy to see him too. I really am, because I've been concerned about you too, commentary. Ooh, the little Bob. I was like, ooh, let me try to fix myself up and look a little decent, because I wasn't sure if the StreamYard was going to let me, you know, function without being on the avatar. Ooh, I didn't even know my little background was, I forgot I had the green screen up. Thank you, commentary. It just came right on in for you, girl. Let me adjust it. Yeah, Bio. I'm feeling a lot better though, and I am negative. I don't have any virus like that going on, although I do still have a little bit of underlying health conditions. So nothing major, nothing terminal. Your girl's just not her usual bubbly self. I'll get back there soon enough though. Thank you, Primpin. Thank you. I try to look decent. God knows. When you've been in the house for 3 weeks, y'all seen my hair the other day, right? Yeah, I was like, let me try to fix myself up today. Get a little bit cute. Should we check? Can one of you guys check to see if Miss Full Roller is live? Because when she's live, we're going to go over there and hang out with her for a little bit. Commentary, are you still out in the field working, or are you settled? Hi, Deborah. Is Deborah still here? Thank you for still being here. I'm so excited. You need to see. Okay, Miss Full Roller says, get to know me chat. So she is live because I just got the notification. Let me see if it'll let me drop it in there. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Okay, yep, Miss Full Roller's live. I'm getting ready to put her link in here right now. Hold on. And then we can go over there and kick it with her. And then I can go ahead and end this. And the fun can continue. Oh, thank you, commentary. Is that Miss Full Roller's link? Thank you for that. All right. All right, you guys. So let's go over there and hang out with Miss Full Roller. I want to thank you guys again for coming and hanging out with me today. I appreciate you guys so, so much. I really, really do. You all be blessed, and I'll see you over there in just a little bit.